Well, welcome everyone to another coach video tip. My name is Dan Foster, and I'm the COO and executive coach here at Building Champions. And today I have the awesome privilege of speaking with one of our great executive coaches, Annette Pellinat. Annette, welcome. It is great to be with you.
Thanks, Dan. I'm excited to be here with you and talking about this really important topic.
Yes, it is an important topic. And this week we are talking about psychological safety in the workplace. And that I'm hearing more and more about this. I don't know if it's because I was talking to you about it and it started showing up like in my LinkedIn feed and my Facebook feed, but I've read a couple of articles just since we decided to talk about this. And this is a really important topic that we're going to hit on today.
Yeah, it really is, especially now when you think about what people have been through over the last couple of years. There's been so much uncertainty, and really the workplace has changed so much for a lot of people. This is a really important topic at this moment in time in particular.
Good. Well, let's jump into it. I've got some questions that I think probably a lot of our clients do and the people that watch these video tips do. So let's just start by helping me to understand and kind of defining what is psychological safety in the workplace. Help me to understand that a little more.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I would say, I too have been kind of digging around on this topic because we intended to do a good job of talking about it. And there's certainly a lot out there. I would say at the highest level, it's not that complicated of a concept.
Yeah.
But there's a particular person that I want to quote in terms of the definition, and that is an expert in the domain, Amy Edmondson. She's a professor of leadership at Harvard Business School, and she says that psychological safety is a belief that one will not be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or mistakes.
Okay.
And that the team is safe for interpersonal risk-taking. And that's so important.
Love that.
And I think I'd kind of expand on that a little bit. I mean, it's a beautiful explanation, but really just a general feeling that I am safe, that I belong, and that I matter in the workplace.
Yeah, absolutely. And that you're safe to, I like what she said there, that you're not at risk of being punished for something if you do make a mistake or if you bring up a point that maybe is not the right point or something, right? There's a counterpoint to it, a better argument against it, that you're free to do that. So that helps me understand the safety part of it. That's great. And then creating that within the workplace, I could see would be so important. So you mentioned that in the past few years, we've gone through a lot. So why is this so important right now for people and for the organizations that we lead?
Yeah. Well, certainly we all want people to thrive, and we want people to feel good about what they're doing and be able to bring their best every day, right? That's the ideal. And when people are feeling safe and valued and that their voice matters and there's not going to be repercussions, right? They're contributing to a greater degree. And that has obvious impact on all the important business metrics, right?
Yes.
Productivity, quality, safety, and so on.
Yeah.
And I think it also has a really important impact on employees' decision to stay, right?
So retention.
Retention, absolutely. So if I feel that I am respected and valued and I can thrive, I'll tend to stay with the organization and give my best. So it's a win for everyone.
Yeah, that's great. So it really becomes a responsibility not only of the leader and the organization, but really all the team members as well, because you could be my leader who's doing a great job at trying to create a psychologically safe place at work. But if I'm not engaging in that, and if I'm like pushing it back against it as a team member, then it's going to be difficult for everybody. So it seems like the role in helping to create this type of environment doesn't just fall with the leader. I'm sure there's certain things a leader needs to do, but can you talk a little bit about how everybody kind of has to be involved in it, it sounds like?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we want in the workplace, again, is every person to bring their best, but also to support innovation and creativity. You want some healthy debate and even healthy conflict, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And the only way that can exist is if there is an environment of trust and respect among everyone.
Yep.
So it really is in all of our best interests to strive for supporting each other in that kind of environment.
Yeah. So we're not talking about a lack of conflict or a lack of constructive feedback or things like that, which we know are so important for leaders and teams to be healthy. We're actually talking about that it's just done, but it's done in the right way. And it's done in a way that doesn't create fear, it sounds like. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We want people to be creative, thinking out of the box, throwing crazy ideas out there.
Yeah.
I'm only going to do that if I know I'm not going to be slapped down or judged or
Yes.
criticized.
That's great. So what's at risk for organizations and for teams if you don't have a psychologically safe, work environment for folks?
Yeah. I mean, it's basically the opposite of the benefits that I talked about. I think people are less productive. They're going to hold on to their ideas or their concerns. So leaders will not have an idea of maybe potential issues that are coming up. It impacts everything. People are less productive and more checked out. And again, the opposite of retention is that, you're going to see people leave, and that's not good for anybody.
No. Okay. So give me a few tips as a leader. I'm COO of Building Champions. There's other leaders watching. What are some things I can do, other leaders can do to create this safe environment for people?
Yeah. So I want to just kind of start by emphasizing that leaders really set the tone, right?
Yeah.
And we at Building Champions have a motto or a theme about self-leadership always precedes team leadership.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so when I think about leaders in this, I think about you have to take care of yourself first. It's that old, put your oxygen mask on first.
Yep.
And what that's really about, if you're also in a stressful or high pressure situation, you might be showing up as tight or reactive, overly critical, whatever the case may be. Check yourself, because that is not an approachable stance, right?
Sure.
You want employees to feel like they can come to you for support.
Yeah.
So take care of yourself so that you build the capacity to provide the leadership that your team needs in any situation.
Right. Right. Yeah. So how, for me, I'm showing up to meetings, and like you said, if I'm not leading myself well, people are going to pick up on that from my body language, from the tone of my voice. If I snap at someone, or if I just come in command and control mode and say, this is how it's going to be, then that's going to definitely impact the overall culture and environment, whether or not people feel safe bringing up a counterpoint and saying, hey, Dan, I disagree. I think we should go this way. I'm assuming that's right.
Right. Absolutely. So some things you can do to invite people's input and again, people to be able to contribute their best is really, first of all, just understanding what's happening in the organization. And you can do that by being curious, right? That's a really important aspect of leadership, being curious and open, practicing active listening.
Yes.
And then when you hear something, do something with it. So be known as a resource for support, providing resources to resolve issues or to, increase the ability to be creative, but do something with what you find out.
Yeah.
And then really promote a sense of well-being. So it's so important to provide feedback, good quality feedback, and provide recognition and celebrate. I think this next one may be a bit challenging, but it is incredibly important, and that is really model the way. So as a leader, ask for feedback, ask how you're doing, be willing to admit when you make mistakes. And just generally be approachable, be that person that people know they can come to. There's one other thing that I've been thinking about since I've been exploring this topic, especially in the context of today, how we are working differently.
Yes.
Leaders really need to be aware if they're working in an environment that is virtual or maybe hybrid. A lot of companies are hybrid right now. There is potential for risk to people's safety in terms of feeling isolated or failing alone is a term that people are using now. So it's really critical that you use that curiosity, openness to be connected with everyone, no matter where they're sitting
That's great.
Physically sitting, right?
Yeah. And probably even going beyond just your direct reports, right? Doing those maybe skip level conversations, if you will, and seeking perspective and being curious beyond just your executive team or your leadership team, whoever it might be for you. I could see that where that would be really important.
Definitely. Yeah.
I loved what you said about the vulnerability part too, though. As leaders, it's hard for us sometimes. We think we have to have it all together and that we can't show weakness sometimes. And so having that courageous authenticity, if you will, and that vulnerability to show up and to be curious, to seek perspective, to admit when you're wrong, like you said, that really does set the tone and create the environment for us to have these types of conversations and for people to feel safe. So,
yeah.
Okay, so what?
Absolutely right.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I just would reinforce that, and it does take courage, but it's good for everybody. So
yes, it absolutely is. Okay, so what are some resources if we want to learn more about this? Do you have any books or websites or blogs, anything like that that you can kind of point our watchers to?
Yeah, I mean, I would go back to what I said in the beginning. Sort of the guru in this space is Amy Edmondson. If you Google her, you're going to find TED Talks, videos, a ton of content out there. And she's written several books. So I would say that's a good place to start.
Excellent.
There's David Rock's work. The SCARF model is another model that people can leverage. When I worked in healthcare, we had a practice, I think, that is transferable to really any sector or any organization. And that was a practice of employee rounding. And this is a really simple thing to do, but it takes commitment. And that is having one-on-one conversations on a regular basis with your team members and asking 5 simple questions. What's going well? Is there someone I can recognize and why? So getting to that celebration and recognition and reinforcing good behaviors. Do you have the tools and equipment and information you need to do your job?
Yep.
Are there any systems or processes you'd like to see improved? And do you have ideas on how to fix them?
Okay.
And then is there anything I can do to help you right now? And this is like an evidence-based, proven method for engaging with individuals and really supporting them to the highest degree and having great results.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. I love it. I love those questions, by the way. Those are, I'm going to adopt those immediately. So thank you.
It works anywhere, not just in healthcare, but that's where it came from. And then last but not least, and certainly not least, obviously, I am a big advocate of coaching.
Yes.
And so what a leader can do to reinforce their effectiveness, increase their effectiveness is get themselves an executive coach. And at Building Champions, obviously, we have a lot of great coaches. But in all sincerity, I think it is one of the most transformational investments a leader can make in their own growth and development.
Yeah, that's wonderful, Annette. Thank you so much. And you did that. That wasn't just a shameless plug. That was like you invested in coaching for yourself when you were in leadership. And so you're absolutely right. And so we're going to have those resources that Annette mentioned. We'll have them in the notes section for the video. We'll also retype out those questions that Annette gave us so that you have those as well. So if you want to learn more about working with Annette and how she helps executive leaders like you create just amazing cultures that are safe and where people feel like they belong and they can thrive, then check out our website at buildingchampions.com and look for her bio, or you can connect with her on LinkedIn. So Annette, thank you so much for today. This has been great. I've learned a lot just in the few minutes that we got to speak, and I look forward to diving deeper on this conversation with you at another time. So thank you.
Thank you, Dan. It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you soon.